You've been sitting on your ideas, your dreams, your plans, telling yourself that tomorrow will be the day you start. But let me tell you something, tomorrow isn't promised, and waiting has never made anyone great. The longer you wait, the more you train yourself to stay the same. That's the hard truth most people don't want to hear, but it's the reality that shapes lives. Every single day you hesitate, every single day you push your dreams into tomorrow, every single day you talk yourself out of taking that step forward, you're building a habit. And habits don't stay small. Habits become your lifestyle. They become your identity. If you keep telling yourself, "I'll start later," that phrase becomes who you are. You don't even realize it, but your brain starts wiring itself around delay, around hesitation, around comfort. And before you know it, years pass, and you're the same person you were when you first started thinking about it. The truth is, people love to blame circumstances. They say it's not the right time. They don't have the resources. They're waiting for motivation. They're waiting for clarity. But waiting doesn't solve anything. Waiting doesn't build skills. Waiting doesn't create opportunity. Waiting only builds a stronger version of procrastination. The longer you sit with that idea in your head without acting on it, the harder it becomes to act on it at all, because you're reinforcing the pattern of doing nothing. And when you reinforce doing nothing, that's exactly what you become. Nothing. Here's the thing. Hesitation is not neutral. It's not harmless. People think that not acting just means they're standing still, but standing still is a choice, and choices compound. Every day you stand still while the world keeps moving forward, you're actually falling behind. Every day you hesitate, you're building proof in your own mind that you're the type of person who doesn't act, the type of person who doesn't risk, the type of person who doesn't move when it matters. And that self-image grows stronger until it becomes a cage. That's why hesitation is more dangerous than failure. Failure teaches you, shapes you, grows you. Hesitation robs you. Failure at least moves you forward, even if it hurts. Hesitation keeps you exactly where you are, silently killing your potential without you even noticing. Think about how many people had dreams that never saw the light of day, not because they weren't capable, not because they didn't have the talent, but because they hesitated too long. They told themselves they'd wait until they felt ready. But here's the truth. You never feel ready. Readiness is a myth people cling to so they don't have to face the discomfort of acting. No one feels ready to take the first step. No one feels ready to face uncertainty. No one feels ready to jump. You don't get ready and then act. You act, and then you get ready along the way. You build strength in the process. You learn in the process. You grow in the process. But if you sit and wait for readiness, you'll wait your entire life, because it never comes. That's why hesitation kills dreams faster than failure ever could. Failure can be redeemed. You can get back up, try again, learn from it, and use it as fuel. Failure is painful, but it's productive pain. Hesitation, on the other hand, is painless in the moment, but it's destructive over time. You don't notice it day by day, but it eats away at your ambition, at your self-belief, at your drive, until one day you wake up and realize you've built a life that looks nothing like the one you imagined. That's the price of hesitation. It's subtle, it's quiet, but it's devastating. It robs you not just of your goals, but of the person you could have become. The longer you wait, the more you convince yourself that waiting is safe, that waiting is logical, that waiting is responsible. But safety is an illusion. There's nothing safe about letting your life pass you by. There's nothing safe about leaving your potential untouched. There's nothing safe about shrinking into a version of yourself that is smaller than what you're capable of. Safety feels good in the moment, but it's regret in disguise. Years from now, you won't regret the risks you took. You'll regret the ones you didn't. You won't regret the failures. You'll regret the moments you hesitated, the times you had the chance to move, and you chose to stay still. You have to understand that action is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And hesitation is also a muscle. The more you feed it, the stronger it gets. Every time you act, even if you don't have the perfect plan, even if you're not fully ready, even if you're terrified, you're teaching yourself that you're someone who moves. Every time you hesitate, you're teaching yourself that you're someone who waits. Which one do you want to become? Because you don't get to escape the consequences. Either you build the habit of action or you build the habit of hesitation. Either way, you're training yourself, shaping yourself, locking yourself into a future that reflects the choices you made today. That's why urgency matters. Not fake urgency, not rushed chaos, but real urgency. The kind that says, I don't have forever, and I refuse to waste the time I've been given. People love to talk about tomorrow, but tomorrow is just a story we tell ourselves. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. All you truly have is today, this moment, this choice. And the choice is always the same: act now or wait. Build momentum or stall. Create progress or stack up more hesitation. The longer you delay, the more comfortable delay becomes, and the more uncomfortable action feels. Before long, action feels impossible, like something you're not capable of. But that's only because hesitation has become your identity. You don't need giant steps. You don't need to conquer the world in one move. You don't need to transform overnight. You just need to act. You just need to prove to yourself that you can move, that you can take the step in front of you, that you can choose action over delay. Because one step leads to another. One small act of courage builds momentum, and momentum changes everything. But you'll never experience momentum if you never act. And you'll never act if you keep feeding the lie that waiting is harmless. Waiting is not harmless. Waiting is lethal. It doesn't kill you fast. It kills you slow, one dream at a time, one goal at a time, 1 year at a time. So the choice is yours. Either act now or keep waiting. Either take the risk or stay the same. Either build a habit of action or keep feeding the habit of hesitation. Every day you wait, you're not just delaying your goals, you're training yourself to accept less, to settle, to shrink. And if you do that long enough, it becomes who you are. Greatness doesn't come from thinking, planning, or wishing. It comes from moving, from deciding today that you'll step forward or stay a nobody. That's the line that separates those who change their lives and those who get forgotten. Too many people spend their lives convincing themselves they're on the right path because they're busy thinking about it. They make lists, they create plans, they daydream about what life could look like, and it feels productive. It feels like progress. But the reality is, none of that means anything until you move. None of that counts until you step forward. The world doesn't reward your thoughts, it rewards your actions. And until you cross that line from planning to moving, you'll always stay stuck in the same place. We live in a world that worships preparation. People are obsessed with being ready, with having the perfect roadmap, with eliminating every possible risk before they start. But the truth is, the only thing you're eliminating is your chance to make something happen. Because the more you prepare without acting, the more you're just building a cage of fear disguised as responsibility. You don't need another plan. You don't need another conversation with yourself. You don't need another round of motivation videos. What you need is movement. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, the ones who live lives that you look at and say, I wish I could do that. They're not special because they had it all figured out. They're not special because they never made mistakes. They're special because they moved when everyone else stood still. The truth about greatness is that it's ugly in the beginning. It doesn't look impressive when you start. It doesn't look glamorous when you take those first steps. In fact, it looks messy, it looks clumsy, it looks uncertain. And that's why most people don't even try. They're terrified of looking like beginners. They're terrified of failing. They're terrified of being judged. But that's exactly what makes greatness so rare. Because greatness doesn't come to the ones who think about it. It comes to the ones who are willing to look foolish in the beginning, who are willing to take the blows, who are willing to step forward when no one believes in them. That willingness is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Every single person who achieved something remarkable had to make that decision. To move when it would have been easier to wait. To step forward when it would have been more comfortable to stay put. To act even when they didn't feel ready. That decision doesn't just change your results, it changes who you are. Because the moment you decide to move, you stop being just another person with potential and you start becoming someone who follows through. You stop being someone who dreams about what they want and start becoming someone who's willing to earn it. That's the identity shift that changes everything. That's when you stop being a nobody and start becoming someone to remember. But here's the painful part. Most people never make that decision. They convince themselves that thinking is enough, that planning is progress, that wishing is some form of effort. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, that they'll wait until the timing is better, that they need just a little more clarity before they act. But what they don't realize is that tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and next year becomes never. And all those dreams that felt so real, all that potential that felt so alive, slowly fades until it's just a memory of what could have been. And that's how people end up forgotten. Not because they weren't capable, but because they never moved. You have to understand, wishing doesn't make you different. Everyone wishes. Everyone dreams. Everyone imagines a better life. But very few decide to actually step forward. That's why greatness stands out. Not because the people who achieve it were the only ones who wanted it, but because they were the ones who refused to stop at wanting. They refused to stop at wishing. They refused to stop at planning. They turned all of that into movement. They turned it into late nights, early mornings, tough decisions, uncomfortable risks. They stopped telling themselves stories about what they could do and started showing themselves proof of what they were willing to do. It's not the smartest person who wins. It's not the most talented. It's not the one with the best resources. It's the one who decides that movement matters more than perfection. It's the one who doesn't wait for certainty, but builds certainty through action. That's the hidden truth most people don't want to admit. That talent without action is worthless. That intelligence without courage is wasted. That dreams without steps are just fantasies. What makes the difference is whether or not you move. Whether or not you're willing to be uncomfortable, to be doubted, to take imperfect action in the face of fear. The choice is always simple, but never easy. You can step forward or you can stay a nobody. And staying a nobody isn't about being invisible to the world. It's about being invisible to yourself. It's about knowing deep down that you never lived up to what you could have been, that you played it safe, that you talked a big game, but never backed it up with movement. That's the kind of pain that stays with you. That's the kind of pain that doesn't go away, because failure hurts for a season, but inaction hurts for a lifetime. You can recover from a bad decision. You can bounce back from a mistake, but you can't recover time you never used. You can't get back the years you lost to hesitation. And that's why you have to act today. Not next week, not when it's convenient, not when you finally feel ready. Today, because every day you choose movement, you're building a new story for yourself. You're proving to yourself that you're not just another person who talks about it. You're someone who does it. That proof matters more than anything. Because when you see yourself move, even in small ways, your belief grows, your confidence grows, your momentum grows. And that momentum is what carries you through the hard days, through the doubt, through the setbacks. Momentum is born in the moment you decide to move. It's easy to underestimate the power of one step, but that one step can change everything. One decision to act can start a chain reaction that reshapes your entire future. That's how greatness happens. Not through giant leaps that happen overnight, but through consistent movement that starts with a single choice. The choice to step forward instead of standing still. The choice to act instead of waiting. The choice to become someone remembered instead of someone forgotten.